I'm Komal. Firstly, I am really happy that I'm here to share my journey with you all. Well, my name is Komal, and in Hindi, it means soft. But do we really accept soft people? Do we really accept sensitive people? I've been labeled soft all my life. When I was born, from that moment onwards, my journey was linked with being soft. I was always labeled being weak because Komal means soft. I remember when I was 5, that was the first time I experienced something which was an out of body experience. I felt like I was alone and I was feeling like I need to hide myself. I felt like crying, and it was very helpless feeling back then. I have vivid memories of that night when the first time in my life I felt something which was out of my understanding. So my journey began with me dealing with broken marriage of my parents. It wasn't an easy journey to begin with, but I couldn't explain it to others how I was feeling because मुझे ही नहीं पता था कि मेरे अंदर क्या हो रहा है. I feel like only crying could express that I was going through something that was consuming me from inside. That was unexplainable at that moment. As a child, you don't know how to explain your big emotions. You don't know what's going on inside you. So you start crying. As a child, I was labeled a cry baby. Everyone used to tease me, and crying is not really accepted as a normal thing to do. Even as a child, the first thing that your parents will tell you is stop crying. If you fall down, the first thing they'll say is stop crying, it's okay. No one actually teaches us that it's not okay. No one actually sits us down and says ki, it's okay to cry, take a moment, you should cry and feel that big emotion. From my cousins, I was always labeled Rondu. That was my name, and I was bullied with that name all throughout my 8 to 15 years of my life. And I was very ashamed. I used to hide my emotions. I used to start crying very easily, and I had no words to explain why I was crying. I remember once my dance teacher, asked me what's the name of my father, and I instantly started crying. And the entire class was shocked that it's just a simple question. Why is she crying? What just happened? And I just couldn't explain. As a child, I just could not explain why I cried, why I used to cry all the time. My mom started calling me a cry baby at home. Whenever I cried, it was considered a call of drama, or she just needs attention. I don't know what to do. These are the sentences that I lived with. I lived with a lot of shame and a lot of embarrassment. I always felt like hiding myself. Low self-esteem and no confidence was part of me. I always felt like something's wrong within me, as if something is wrong within me that I need to hide from the world. And whenever those feelings popped up, I started crying. So bathroom became my best friend because I used to hide in the bathroom and cry, just simply cry. No one could see me there. And when I cried there, when I felt those big emotions, there was no one to shame me. There was no one to tell me that I'm doing something wrong. But when you're really young, you can't really control what's happening to you. And then coming out, crying, feeling the big emotions, unable to talk, unable to explain, you really depend on the world to validate your pain, to validate what you're feeling. But I, as a child, didn't know how to do that. And my loved ones did not know how to handle that. So I always just pretended like everything's okay. My coping mechanism became just to pretend that everything's okay. And whenever I cried, I used to hide myself so that the world does not have to see what's going on with me. This was my life with anxiety. It was really after a really, really long time that I got to know that my crying was coming from an anxiety attack. It wasn't just a normal experience. I was experiencing a lot of anxiety And that's why I was crying. That's why I was hiding. In our society, mental health problems are considered a call of drama. You're labeled sensitive, oversensitive, weakness. You're very weak. You need to be strong. The world is hard. So you can't just sit on and cry. That's what everybody keeps teaching us. Fake it till you make it. That is what everybody teaches us. Whenever we are vulnerable in front of the world, it's not really accepted well, even by our loved ones. Everybody around wants to see us smiling. But when we actually talk about our pain, it's not really considered validated. It's not really considered a good thing to do. People want to run away from your vulnerabilities. You yourself want to run away from your vulnerabilities. I, for my really long time in my life, I lived with anxiety and I kept hiding it. I lived with shame and I kept hiding it. I didn't want it to accept because I didn't know what was going on inside me. In fact, I still remember one night I felt like I'm in a really dark, pitch black room, and I'm walking and I have no help and I'm feeling those big emotions and I don't know where to walk. It's so dark in there. And that's what, as a child, anxiety felt to me. I felt like I'm walking in a really, really dark room with no help, no light, and I can bump into anything. I'll fall, I'll hurt myself. In Hindi, anxiety is translated as chinta. What actually happens when your big emotions are out of your control? No one wants to talk about it. No one wants to explain you what happens when your emotions are out of your control. जब आपकी चिंता बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ जाती है तो क्या करना है, ये बचपन में कोई स्कूल में नहीं सिखाया जाता. माँ बाप भी नहीं सिखा पाते, उनको पता ही नहीं होता कि क्या सिखाना है. बट एक्चुअली में जब चिंता बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ जाती है तो आपका हार्ट रेट बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ जाता है, आपकी बॉडी में ऐसे कपकपाहट होने लग जाती है, आपको पसीना आने लग जाता है, आप बात नहीं कर पाते हो, आप रोने लग जाते हो. ऐसा लगता है जैसे कि दुनिया खत्म हो गई है और आप बस उस समय उस मोमेंट में सब कुछ अंधेरा हो जाता है, आपको कोई सोल्यूशन नहीं दिखता. दैट्स व्हाट एंजाइटी डज टू यू. एंड व्हेन एंजाइटी अटैक कम्स अप, you really feel like you're breaking down and that darkness consumes you. So while I was going through all this as a child, I had no answers. And then I developed a coping mechanism, which was to pretend. This is just not normally said. It is something that we pursue. Fake it till you make it. So, what's the easiest thing to do? Pretend in front of the world that everything's okay, you have a really great life, there's no mental health problems that you go through, because talking about it will get you labeled and you won't get validated. So, you want to hide it and you want to pretend that your life is okay and you just want to go about it with your life. As a YouTuber, I did exactly that till 2019. From being a child to being a mother, I excelled in hiding my anxiety. I became a pro till everything came falling. I just felt like I had hit rock bottom in 2019 when I started having anxiety attack in my sleep. So मैं सोती थी और नींद में मुझको anxiety attack आता था, जिसके अंदर I felt all the things, the chinta, breathlessness while I was sleeping, while I couldn't wake up and get myself out of that. Fear to a level that सांस नहीं आ रही है शरीर में, ऐसा लग रहा है जैसे कि सब कुछ खत्म हो रहा है. And all this happened while I was sleeping. In 2019, I started experiencing anxiety in my sleep. And that's when I felt like I'm going to lose it all. Like, how am I going to raise my child if I'm not going to deal with this? And my bathroom didn't feel like that space where I can just flush down my feelings. It became too much for me. And that's when I seeked help. Let me be honest with you. मेंटल हेल्थ इश्यूज के बारे में बहुत बात होती है, अवेयरनेस के बारे में बात होती है, बट एक्चुअल में जब आप अपने घर में मेंटल हेल्थ के बारे में बात करते हो, it's not really taken as something one would want to understand. It's mostly considered a call of attention, or you're being too dramatic, or it's a phase. So when I came out with anxiety in front of the world, that was through my YouTube channel. And I felt like I wanted to shout out loud that I've been going through this since a child, and I've managed to cope up alone, and I've managed to pretend like I don't have it. This word I got to know in 2019, but I was experiencing it since I was 5, 6. Since I remember my life, I have been living with anxiety and been going through this all alone without any support. But I didn't know what to do. So जब मुझको पता चला कि मुझको anxiety है, when this got validated for me, I wanted to come out and I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to share it with the world. I wanted the world to know that it's okay to have anxiety. It's okay to have any mental health problem. It's not a weakness. It's actually something that you go through, you heal from it, you work on it, you make your mental health the priority. But is it really possible to be your own savior? I actually did that. But while I was going through it, while I was experiencing the word, going through therapist, figuring out what's happened to me, I don't think so I got validated by anybody. So I'm not coming here to tell you that your pain is going to get validated. You need to validate your own pain. You need to find your own solutions. And I did exactly that. First, I shared it with my viewers online that I have anxiety, that this is what is going on inside me, and I need to take a break. I need to work on my mental health. I made self-care a daily practice. I don't think so anybody taught me the word self-care till I actually explored it and I started working on myself. I started working on how to take care of myself, what to do when I have anxiety, what to do before that, what food to eat so that my mood is better, so that I am not having an anxiety attack in my sleep. But while going through all this, I also realized that half of my pain and half of my mental health issues are getting fixed because I'm accepting it, because I am embracing my pain. I felt so much better when I started validating that this is there in my life and I'm taking care of myself. I'm loving it. I'm dealing with it. I'm not hiding it. I'm not running away from it. I feel like as human beings, we are told that we need to hide everything and show up with a proper face, with a proper life. Keep your problems under the carpet. This is what is happening all around us. But what we actually need to do is talk about our vulnerabilities, talk about our pain, talk about our struggles, so that there can be a manual for others to walk on, so that it can be validated for others. I was told that I'm broken. So, with my mental health problems, I started fixing myself. And that's when I realized that I'm neither broken and nor I can be fixed. And I came up with a book that I wrote, which is called Broken Fixed, Somewhere in Between. And I feel like it is my manual to validate pain, to validate the struggles of your life, to validate anxiety, to validate what happens to us that we keep hiding from others. When I started writing this book, मुझको सिर्फ एक ही एम दिख रहा था कि एक छोटी सी बच्ची है जिसका नाम कोमल है and she needs light in that dark room, and I wanted to be the light for others. I really wanted that I help others through my pages, through my thoughts, through my struggles, through my days when I had nobody as a child. बचपन में जब हमको सब बोलते हैं कि ये गलत है तो हम मान लेते हैं कि ये गलत है, बट एक्चुअली हमारी जिंदगी में हमें डिफाइन करना बहुत जरूरी है कि आपकी पेन और आपकी जर्नी गलत नहीं है, आप ब्रोकन नहीं हो, एंड यू डोंट नीड टू बी फिक्स्ड. You are a beautiful mess and you need to accept that and keep working on it. So when I started working on it, when I started writing this book, my pain was validated. I accepted that I have anxiety. With self-care, I started healing myself. and I started feeling better. I did a lot of research on how I can fix this. And that's when I realized that this is not something that I need to fix. I need to accept it. चिंता हम लोगों की जिंदगी का पार्ट है. Life is very tricky and stress will always come at you because life can get difficult. So we don't need to run from it. We actually need to accept it. Half of my problems were gone when I started accepting it. I feel like crying is okay, but no one says that crying is okay. You know, as a child, when you're born, as a baby, when you're born, the first thing that you do is you cry. You do not smile or laugh, you cry. And actually, it's considered very healthy when the baby is born. If the baby is crying, it's considered very healthy. But all our life, we hide away from crying. We feel very embarrassed when we are sad. Why is it that being vulnerable is considered a sin? So I accepted my pain, and I feel like I'm not here to tell you that we need to have mental health awareness. I am here to tell you that the people who are suffering, we need to embrace our pain. We need to be our warriors. We need to save ourselves, and we need to come out and stand boldly in front of the world and embrace our pain. We need to stop hiding, stop shying away from your problems and start accepting it. I think that's what can change the world. When you accept, when you come out and you save yourself, you help yourself. Thank you.